Hi, everyone. I'm Christy Matino, video reporter with the Washington Examiner, and we're joined today by Samantha-Jo Roth. She's our congressional reporter, and she's actually been in Iowa for the past week. So we're going to catch up with her and see what voters are saying out there. So first, Samantha-Jo, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, so first question we have for you. You've been talking to these voters all week now, leading up to the caucus here. What is the feeling out there, and what are some of the issues that are most important to these voters?
Well, I think, there is obviously a lot of excitement for former President Trump. We see it basically everywhere. But, there are, several other camps of voters, rather, that are looking for an alternative, who are excited about DeSantis or Haley. I've made my way to a Ramaswamy event. So there is a decent amount of people in this state who are ready to move on and are looking for somebody new. The big issues, everybody's talking about the economy. I mean, that is not a surprise. We're also hearing about farming. This is a very rural state, a state that produces a lot of corn. So we're seeing a lot of questions about the renewable fuel standard, which is a big deal here.
You mentioned there's a lot of support for former President Donald Trump. So how are these other candidates pitching themselves to these voters to make themselves come out on top?
So basically, what we're seeing across all of these campaigns is they are really trying to hit at this electability argument, to say that the election is going to be really close if you elect former President Trump as your nominee. It'll be a lot further away if you choose me. That is one thing that we're hearing a lot from Nikki Haley. We're also hearing from DeSantis, who's saying, he didn't finish the job. He didn't build the wall. He didn't do all of these things that he said he was going to do. And I am somebody who is a former, as the Florida governor, has followed through with my promises. Whether that's all true or not remains to be seen. We've also heard from Vivek Ramaswamy saying, look, you want to send a general into battle who isn't wounded. I'm not wounded. So basically, those are kind of the things that we're hearing throughout a lot of the campaign. A lot of these candidates stayed away from Trump. They didn't want to talk about him.
And one of the really big topics has been the weather there in Iowa. You were just telling me it's very cold. It's been snowy. What can we expect with the weather coming up here, and how is that going to impact the last few days of the campaign here?
A lot of these events are going to be canceled. We're also going to see some bitter cold on caucus night. I mean, we are talking potentially below 8 degrees, and we're not talking about wind chill. Like, this is actually potentially the coldest caucus that they've ever seen. So when you have temperatures that cold, and I don't know if you've ever been in temperatures that cold, I have, because I used to live here. It is punishing, and things sometimes don't work the way that they're supposed to. People's cars sometimes don't start. Power could get knocked out. That's how cold it is. So there's definitely some concern about whether this is going to impact turnout. I've spoken to a lot of the campaigns. They're saying, we're going to drive people anywhere they need to go. We're going to pick up old people. We're going to pick up young people. Like, we're going to bring everyone we possibly can out. But it's a big problem potentially, just because that bitter cold does provide somewhat of a barrier for people getting out and caucusing.
All right. Well, Samantha-Jo, stay warm out there and stay safe. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And you will be on the ground there still in Iowa. So stay with us at washingtonexaminer.com and on social media for all the latest from Samantha-Jo in Iowa. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you.